Hey, hello, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday morning conversations with Geoff Tyson. Yeah, another beautiful day, sunny day here in Galveston, where I'm at today. And man, hope everyone had a great holiday. I'm just gonna talk a few minutes and while people get in, and everybody that's back to work, cheers for those of you that are still off. Cheers. Some people are off for the rest of the year, right? So whoever you are, wherever you are, tuning in today, we appreciate you taking the time to do that, right? Because we've got a great speaker coming up. Boy, I'll tell you what, I can't wait to bring her on. And for those of you that don't know who I am, again, as a real estate investor, I'm kind of known as the king of rehabs. We focus on the ugliest, nastiest houses that you can find, and then also training and new real estate investors and mindset practices, techniques and processes to help them get off that feeling of overwhelm and fear and get it started. And man, most recently helping folks that are caught up in corporate America or in your job profession that are really looking for a way out, right? How do I do that? You're spending time constantly thinking about how do I get started? How do I become a LeAn Wortman? How do I do those things? What's it going to take for me to do that, right? And there's no better time, than now. I mean, all the distractions that are going on makes us really concerned about things that really aren't that important, right? Things that are really not going to stop you from taking that leap of faith and starting out and building your business, whether it be whatever type of business it is, right? And then focusing more on the unity and less of the distractions, because there's no we have not ever been more divided than we are now as a country, but that doesn't mean we have to stay in that space, right? We've created conversations with Geoff to be able to bring in folks that are looking for harmony and unity, and people that we bring on stage here are those folks that like to speak to you about that, right? What's family like? Whatever religious belief you have, you follow, family, spiritual, business, health, and community, right? Because I'll tell you, COVID, however you look at the way the world is today, it's not happening to us. All these things are happening for us, right? I'm gonna speak from the business perspective, because listen, there's been in the last 18 months, there's been more businesses started than ever before, right? And the majority of those businesses have been started by females. So I'm saying, ladies, keep rocking, baby, right? I mean, there's no reason, to not start your business, no matter where you are, whether you have experience, anything like that. This is the time to do it. All right. And we're going to bring folks in here that are going to encourage you and give you some information that you can take away from these conversations and man, do something in your life. Right. So before I get too far along, I want to make sure I have some notes here. Because the young lady that we're going to bring on here in a couple of minutes, her name is Leanne Wortman, and she's coming to you live from Austin, Texas. And just to give you a quick review, she's come from Austin, from the furthest state in the Union, Alaska, small island in Alaska, where, they lived off of the land, right? She went from that to working in the commercial fishing industry, and then got her captain's license and worked on the research vessels. And this lady was tough, man. I mean, and found that she needed to branch out, and she ended up in Austin, got a degree in biology along the way. And boy, I mean, I'm not going to tell you a whole lot more about it because I want you to hear it from her, and we're going to talk about her journey. All right, so sit down, get your pen and paper out. Please use the chat. Hey, Gerardo. Hey, Steph. And let us know where you're coming from, and show some love to Leanne. So, with no further ado, on this Tuesday, let's bring in Leanne Wortman and have some fun.
Hi, hey, Geoff. Hi, Geoff. Thank you for that intro. I appreciate it. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Great to have you, boy. And that smile always lights up the camera, right? So,
thank you.
Oh, yeah. So, hey, I gave you a quick introduction about you. And on our show, we really just like to kind of let you tell us a little bit about you and share your journey and all those things. And so I mentioned maybe people always have a curiosity about Alaska. And, you probably get asked a lot. So tell us, if you would, maybe let's go all the way back. there and start and tell us a little bit about how that was and what decision you came across before you left.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is LeAn Wortman. My father is actually a commercial fisherman. So I grew up on a really remote island. It's called Prince of Wales. And the only way you can get there is by boat or plane. So it's very, very remote. There was about 1,000 people in the town where I'm from, or village I'm from. And most of the people there are either fishermen or they're loggers, or, they live off the land. I grew up where I learned to walk on the boat out at sea. So it was funny. My mom, she told me a story about how when I learned how to walk, I actually like swayed to and fro because of the boat,
Yeah, the boat sway, yeah.
I actually got back to land after learning how to walk. So yeah, I really love the ocean just because that's really where I was born and what I grew up around, the ocean and nature. I mean, whales all around me. The best way I could describe it to people who haven't been there is just National Geographic stuff about the humpback whales, bubble net feeding, the sea otters, all the thing. That's what I grew up in. That's real. That's where I'm from. So I just got this deep instilled love of nature and the environment from growing up in that, and really respecting the land where, we come from. And so growing up doing that, I kind of was like, got taught, go to college, get a degree. That's what you're supposed to do, is get educated, get a degree, and then go get a good job. So with that in mind, from high school, I decided to go to college, and I picked biology just because I loved animals and nature. I didn't even know what that meant, like what jobs you can get afterwards or anything. It's just, they're like, go to school for something you love. And I'm like, well, I love animals, so, let's do this. So I got my biology degree because of that. Because of all my sea time and experience doing that, I then was easily got a job with the state of Alaska Fish and Game, Department of Fish and Game. And I was hired to first go and interview fishermen. So I was kind of the liaison between the fishermen and the state of Alaska doing research. What they did is they managed the commercial fisheries. Alaska actually has a really great management for the fisheries because they want to sustain the resource. And so that was kind of my job. I had a great rapport with the fishermen just because that's what I grew up doing. That's what my father is. I know how to talk to fishermen and whatnot. So they thought I was a perfect fit, and I knew how to drive boats. So I would like zoom my little boat out there and ask them all the questions. How many fish have you caught today? That kind of stuff. Right. It was so much fun. I loved it. But then from there, I got a job on a big research vessel. And I would spend months out at sea. And there was one time where we were like 40 miles off the coast of Russia. Like, I was closer to Russia than I was Alaska. And it's just big, wide open ocean, whales everywhere, birds that I have never seen before. And we were actually doing research on a possible invasive crab species. And so, yeah, that's what we were doing out there. But it was just, so it was always an adventure. And I so loved my job, but spending months and months and months at sea, it's hard to have a relationship. I couldn't have a dog, like, it was just kind of a fun job for when you're in your 20s, but then you're like, okay, maybe I might want to get married one day or something. How do I meet a guy while I'm out here in the big wide open ocean?
Yeah. Now, you got your captain's license in that journey too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Basically, to get your captain's license, I have my 100-ton captain's license, and it's based on the tonnage of the boat that I have sea time experience with. And because my dad has a big commercial fishing vessel, I had all the sea time that I needed in order to get it. So basically, all I needed to do was learn the rules of the road and take a test saying that I'm I know what buoy to go around on what side, and all the logistics stuff. Similar to getting your driver's license, you have a written test and you need to do the driving test. I already had all the driving hours. I just needed to go do the written test.
Got you. So now your dad, I know this is just a question of mine because I watch these fishing shows all the time, and they go out in the cold and they throw the cages over the water and they come back and pull the fish. Was that part of what your dad's business was? I mean, did you guys actually do that too, or?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
That's a little bit farther north and not that exact fishery he wasn't in.
Okay.
But he did have enough fishing permits or quota in order to IFQs in order to fish year round. Like he could do halibut, black cod, crab, like what you're talking about, just the different species of crab, but similar, and shrimp. And he actually had his dive, he has his dive license, so he can dive, and he used to do like gooey ducks, which they're not ducks, they're clams. They're huge clams, actually. And so that's what he would dive for, and sea cucumbers and stuff like that. So yeah, he did all the stuff.
So you do all those things, you're getting your degrees, and now you're growing up a little bit. You say, oh boy, I like this, but something is calling me. So tell us, how that transition was for you. And ladies, before you do that, I want to just tell your audience, this lady now, I want to take away the excuse of having to have experience to build a real estate investing business. I'm going to just mention that she's doing 30 plus deals a year now, and she'll talk more about that. But I'm going to get, just for those of you that are wondering, man, we're going to talk about real estate. I like to call her the Queen of Austin. And we'll get to that. But, just eliminating excuses. There's no reason to not do whatever it is you want to pursue. So I just wanted to mention that. So I'm sorry, I'll turn it back over to you now. Tell us.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I just to go on that track, because it's one of my favorite topics, you need to learn to walk with fear and power at the same time. Like you learn your own power and, get your confidence, but then there's always going to be fear there. That like fear of failing is one of the most common ones. You're going to fail, and once I accepted that it's like, I'm probably going to do this. I'll probably fall down, pick yourself back up, fall down again, pick yourself back up. Like the only reason I am where I am is because I continue to get back up day in and day out. Like I have now been doing this for, I just did the math. 2,065 days is how long since I made the decision to go on this path. 2,065 days. So the reason I am here right now is because for 2,065 days, I have got back up after failing. It's the little things that I have done every day that has gotten me here to where I am. So you all have to start somewhere. There was a day one for me, but did I continue to have that commitment, that passion, that drive to do it day 2, day 3, and then day 2,065 and beyond, So anyways, thanks for taking me down that rabbit hole. I will come back out of there.
Sorry about that.
And I will get back on my story. So after doing the biology life, which was so fun because it was seasonal, and for months and months I would be out at sea, but then I had an off time, and that would allow me to travel the world. I did what I call is my eat, pray, love journey, and I spent months in Thailand and Bali, and that allowed me to do that, which was just so soul fulfilling to my soul, And I traveled alone, and that just, if there's something that you want to do, that especially ladies, that just gives you this woman empowerment, it's like go on a trip by yourself. It's amazing. You will find out so much about yourself, So after doing that, I decided that I wanted freedom. I didn't want a job that dictated where I was, when I was. I knew that on the path that I was on, there was a ceiling. And I wanted, I didn't want money to dictate who I was. There was a ceiling as far as a financial ceiling. I knew that I would cap out at some amount working in a corporate job. And I didn't want anything, like I wanted ultimate freedom. Who am I without, financial determining? Like something I realized is that when I go out to eat, I would look at a certain part of the menu, depending on, I know how much money I felt that I had to spend on it. And it's like, not just, because I want the seafood, I'm going to order the seafood. It'd be like, I'll choose the chicken today. I'll look on the left-hand side of the menu, So I wanted to feel ultimate freedom. I was like, who am I if I don't have this financial, limitations or time limitations, or I didn't want to feel limited in any way, shape, or form. And so I read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. It's a great book. I recommend it to anybody. It changed my life. It's what made me make the decision to find some other path. I didn't know what it was. The 4-Hour Workweek is just about being an entrepreneur, how to leverage everything that you have, whether it be money, time, all the things, leverage it, delegate, hire VAs. That's when I first learned about VAs. I think people know more about VAs now, but back then, 6 years ago, that blew my mind. I'm like, there's VAs?
For $4 an hour or whatever it is.
Yeah. Now it's a pretty common. Most people know about it. But anyways, it goes into all that. And basically it, kind of goes over how you can create a 4-hour work week for yourself. So I was kind of blown away. I'm like, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. And then what does that mean? I didn't know. I was like, okay, I know what I want to do, but I don't know what I want to do. Like,
that dance, right?
I've always, so what then I started kind of going deep. I was like, okay, so I want to be an entrepreneur. What does that mean? I want a job where I am not, I can do it from anywhere. Because what I found is that the job that I created for myself with Fish and Game is I needed to be on the coast, on the water somewhere, because I have my 100-ton captain's license. That's where all my like knowledge is from, experience. And so I'm like, okay, so right now I'm delegated to Alaska on the water. I want freedom to work from anywhere. And so I've always had this passion for real estate. My father and I share that. Every time we traveled, we'd always go look at fancy houses and stuff. And he kind of dabbled in the real estate market in Alaska in his own way. He would buy vacant lots, and he has an excavator, and so he would go flatten the lot and get it ready for a house to go on it. So he'd sell it to somebody who would buy it and then build the house. That was his kind of dabble in real estate. But so I was like, I love real estate. I love the freedom, but then I also wanted to mix that with my passion of the environment and all the things that makes me me, that makes me light up, So I heard that Dan Merrill was coming to town, and it was one of the Flip Your House. He has a show on HGTV. I forget it. Fixer Upper, Flip This House, or one of those. So I decided to go to that seminar, and that, because I was scared, I'll admit, I was scared. I had never dabbled in the real estate. Like, I was a biologist. I didn't know how to flip a house, fix a house, all the things. And so I was really scared, but I wanted to learn how to do it. I was intrigued. So I went to the seminar with an open mind and an open heart. After listening, I just felt so called to do it. It was scary and exciting and all my emotions. I was like, this is it. I feel like I found it. So I made the biggest investment of my life, even more so than what I spent on my college degree, in learning how to do flips. And I invested in the seminar and the education, because if you invest in your education, it kind of collapses time. Like you can learn what they did and get there faster. And it just made me feel more empowered and secure instead of just blindly going in and shooting darts without having a real target or know how to get there or anything. I wanted something, you know, so I invested in it.
Bravo.
And I am invested in myself.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Invested in myself. It was the scariest thing ever. Spending that amount of money was so scary. And then to go on commit to doing this thing that I didn't know how to do, that was also scary by myself.
By yourself,
yeah, I'm 27 years old at the time, young single woman, like deciding to go all in, like all my cards are on the table. That was every dime that I had and some, like I put some on the credit card. So I am so grateful that I did. Not necessarily because of where I am now, because I'm not even doing flips. What I invested in, it did not get me to necessarily where I am now, because I'm doing something totally different. But I'm not doing flips and none of that. It didn't even really, like, after I leapt off, took the leap of faith, I kind of had to create my own thing. But why I'm happy is because I met my now fiance there.
I heard. Bravo. Congratulations.
So we met at Fortune Builders is what it's called. We met there, and he was leaving his job. And we had each created our own company, made the commitment to go do this thing. We're like, I don't know, what do you want to call them? Little pollywogs, fresh little baby frogs trying to grow some legs.
Figure it out, right?
Yeah. So we both didn't know what the heck we were doing. We both, what we had to do is find our strengths. You know, we both, the reason it worked is because we both had the same vision or mission or higher calling to go and do this thing, which is bigger than ourselves, to go change the paradigm, to like, we always knew that we cared about the environment, that when we did our flips, we would still put solar panels on them. We wanted to do something that was good for the environment. We didn't want to just go and create more waste and stuff like that. Now, what kind of dictated from there where we went is that it wasn't very well accepted in Alaska. There's a lot of drilling for oil and stuff in Alaska. Plus, it, you know, doesn't have, in the winter months, there's like no sun, so they weren't that excited about solar panels, you know.
Maybe moon solar or something.
Yeah, moon solar. We need to start doing that. So it was a much smaller market, and we kind of felt like big fish in a small fish bowl, and we knew there was more. We just felt like there was a calling for more. We ended up, my partner's family, actually, he has one family member down here, his uncle, and he was like, you need to come to Austin. Like, the market down here is great, and they would love what you're doing. So we just, without even, it's funny, people think that I must have had a very calculated decision to come down here. I did not. I act so much on faith and intuition. Like, the only reason I'm here is because I was just listening.
Let me speak to that for a minute, because I want to applaud you. You know, I mean, there's so many people that think they have to get all the answers before they make a decision.
No.
Right? And you hear about people that, like you're saying today, I mean, you're a living proof that, hey, I wrote something down. You said you had fear, but you did it anyway, and then find your strength. Wow. I mean, so those of you listening to that, I'm going to say it one more time: fear and did it anyway, and find your strength. And I'm going to turn it back over to you. But I wanted to just say kudos to you for, you know, taking that leap and speaking today, speaking your truth. So keep talking to me.
No, thank you for that. That's very insightful. So we decided neither my partner Lawrence nor I had ever been to Austin, Texas. I had been to Dallas once for a few days, and that was my toe in Texas. Like I had never actually been in. I didn't spend a lot of time. And, yeah, I had only dipped my toe in Texas.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't think that Lawrence had even ever been to Texas. I had been to Dallas maybe a few days, and that was it. Never been to Austin. Austin is way different than Dallas than everything.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
we decided to move without having ever been here. Move ourselves and our business. Like we just we listened to the winds, the universe, God, the higher power, whatever. Like we both just had this very strong feeling that it was meant for us to do this. And so we had a Jeep. We got a rooftop tent. We put the tent on the Jeep. We got rid of all of our belongings and left Alaska and traveled across countries because you need to go through Canada in order to get down here. We call it lower 48 is what we call it. Continent. Us Alaskans call you guys the lower 48.
Lower 48, right?
So to get to the lower 48 states, you have to like go through another country and go through Canada. Yeah. And all we had was a couple suitcases and a sleeping bag and my dog. And we would have to, it's funny, we'd have to like toss her up in the rooftop tent, like boost her up there to sleep at night. But we camped the whole way. We camped the whole way. We stayed with some family members to like shower up or do some laundry, and visit family, of course. But we camped the whole way, and it was just 6 weeks of oh gosh, national parks, we just had so much fun. And I am glad that we did that because after that, man, it was tough to come to a new place, arrive in a new place, and then start a business. I'm just so thankful that me and my fiance, we probably wouldn't be fiancés right now if we wouldn't have had that good time at the beginning of it all.
So let me tell us a little bit about how that beginning was, if you don't mind. You told me before, but just it wasn't roses and all that stuff. Tell us.
No, it was not. So we did 2 flips in Alaska before leaving. They were not successful flips. I think we maybe broke even. It was a lot of learning. That's when we learned that Alaska and flips weren't really probably the right path for us, even though that's what we spent all that money on education for, and it's like, okay, well, this isn't working out. What can we do differently? So when I say you're going to fail, like most of the time in the beginning, you have a lot of learning to do when you're taking off on a new path. Be okay with the failure. Like look at it as a learning lesson. I can pretty much guarantee, unless you're I don't know, some magical being, you're gonna fail. Like
you're gonna make a mistake.
I mean, I like to think I'm a magical being, but I still failed.
I got it. Yes,
indeed. I can pretty much guarantee you're gonna fail. Be okay with the failure. Don't think that you're less. You are enough. Everything that you are, you're enough. Don't think that you're inadequate. It's just life, and just look for the lesson in the failure. Like every time I fail, it's what lesson am I supposed to take from this? I analyze it, and I don't be hard on yourself. Too many people are me included. I had to learn, this is a lesson I had to learn. I am enough, and this is just part of the journey of life, and embrace it.
That's right. Cut yourself some slack.
Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Pick yourself back up.
And move forward.
Move forward. Yeah, and so, the first couple flips in Alaska broke even. We then moved to Austin. We did one more flip, And then we made just a little bit, but we were like, man, it's so hard to do. So in Austin, we learned about the Austin Energy Green Build rating, the 5-star rating. And that's what every single one of our houses get now, are 5-star AGB ratings. It's a green build rating that you can achieve here in Austin. So on the flip, we tried so hard to get a 5-star. So hard.
Yeah.
It was, I don't want to say impossible because anything's possible, but
pretty
man,
close.
it's really hard.
It is.
It's probably close to impossible on a flip. And we tore this thing down to the studs. We tried everything and spent so much money. And I think we only got a 3-star. And we're like, this isn't working. Okay, failure. Here's another failure. Okay, what can we do differently? You know?
Exactly.
So that's when we started looking into doing new construction. And so that is what we do now. We do only new construction. We don't do flips. And if it is a house on there previously, because we are a green builder, we'll actually lift the house up, move it to a new place, and let someone else rehab it. And that keeps it out of the landfill. Wow. So that's something that's really important to us. And then we build a new green energy efficient home in its place, 2 usually in its place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I speak to that for a second? Because that shows some character.
Yeah.
Moving a house is not cheap.
No.
So it's easier to tear it down and build over it. So I don't know if you folks are listening, but I mean, this is the type of person that she is, and her company, and giving back. I mean, she's taking that Alaskan heritage and bringing it here, saving what we can, right? I mean, that's how I met you. I saw what you were doing and reached out and called because we had done some green building back in the Midwest, and you know, you're true to who you are in that space. So it wasn't just like you just moved something over. That cost thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah.
That's a commitment to what you're talking about. So
absolutely. Yeah. That. And some houses are just so run down that they're not candidates for that. If that's the case, then we recycle it at an 85% success rate. They use Zen Robotics. We hire a third party that uses Zen Robotics to recycle it and make sure everything gets recycled, which also keeps the majority of it out of the landfill.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. But while doing all of that, getting back to the story, you know, where you really wanted to get deep into, when we arrived in Austin, I mean, we could not rub 2 pennies together. Like I said, you know, I invested all of my money into this education. I went out, I tried to flip homes. They weren't successful at the beginning. I really had no money to my name. That's kind of why we camped the whole way. It made it an adventure, but it was also to save money and how to move down here, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were poor. So we ended up moving into this apartment that was, oh my gosh, it looked nice, but it was like, because it was newish, you know, there's a lot of construction going on in Austin, but man, it was so cheaply built. It, like, I could hear my neighbor in the next room using the toilet, which was awful. I had a dog, like I told you about, no yard for the dog. You know, the place was, even though it was brand new, it was like falling apart. Like, it was not good. We didn't even have money to get a bed or furniture or really anything to speak of. We went and bought $100 like Walmart blow up mattress that got a hole immediately. And we would wake up on the ground, even though we pumped it up before we went to bed. It was like, yeah. And I tried patching it over and over. Nothing worked. Like, I would always end up with a backache because I would wake up on the floor. But in all of that, just painting the picture how awful it was. That's when I learned that you need to really dig deep and be grateful. Just, I mean, like, even though that was the situation I was in, and at the time I thought it was like rock bottom. I was like, man, this is horrible. But then I just was like, man, I have a roof over my head.
Right.
I'm still eating meals. Like it's really just first world problems. Like I still had electricity.
Yes.
Luckily I had AC. I could be grateful for that in Texas because I was
grateful for the sun.
AC. Yeah, I was grateful for that AC.
Amen. Yes, ma'am.
So, and I just learned to find the beauty in everything. Like I would be grateful for that cup of coffee, like my drip cup of coffee. I would treat it like it was the fanciest $10 fancy latte with like the leaf on top, that I would be like so grateful for that cup of coffee and everything. I could still witness the sunrises and the sunsets, which are beautiful. I still had my man that I could wake up next to, and I was just grateful to be on that journey. And from what I found with that is it's like, if you just are miserable and sorry for yourself, God isn't going to give you more unless you're grateful. Like, imagine how you sound if you're like, man, like my life is horrible, Well, he'll be like, well, obviously you're not grateful for that, so you're just whining over there. I'm not going to give you more. Like you need to show gratitude daily. Find the in between stuff that is amazing and just fills your heart, and eventually you'll get to a point where you don't even need to find things to be grateful for. Like you just experience the joy in having a minute between calls or whatever, like you just start looking for the joy instead of looking for the things that are going wrong. And it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same with the failure thing. It's like, don't expect to fail, like it might happen, sure, but expect to fly, and it's kind of the same. I feel like it's on the same frequency, mindset change.
That's right. I like the frequency. It's all energy related, we all give out, we get back what we give out,
Yeah, it's on the frequency of more instead of lack.
Yes.
You need to get off the frequency of lack and get on the frequency of more. And then you will really start to see your life change.
Wow.
Yeah.
So true, man.
Yeah.
We have to come back and have a whole nother discussion about this particular piece.
Oh, we could.
It's powerful. I mean, the whole lack thinking versus the simplicity of gratitude and the gift behind it. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of I love to read about people that are successful, not necessarily to learn how they did it, because I feel like everyone has their own path in how to do it, but to learn the mindset behind it. And I feel like there is an underlying theme that everybody that is successful has learned gratitude, like kind of learned to get on that frequency and experience gratitude, show gratitude, give back, all the things. So
gratitude and grace,
yes.
I mean, just doing those things and doing that. So I better keep on track here because I can have you here all day. And so,
I would love to be here all day. I'll come back.
Love to have you back because I mean those are really the things that make a difference. And I have all kind of notes here, and I just I'm so thankful for you. And you talked about the in between stuff and gratitude. How it sounded to me like you were so grateful it became a habit to where it was just a way of life for you. Is that kind of?
It is. I will find myself just, I told you about how I grew up in Alaska, and I feel like there's just always beauty around me. And I didn't realize how unique that was. Like that, when you're born on a boat, you're like, this is life. Like, doesn't everyone grow up like this? Like, I didn't realize how unique it was that I just had this natural beauty around me. So what I learned is that if I can have a moment in nature now, I am just grateful. If I try to make things around me beautiful so that I can just be grateful for the beauty around me all the time, which I think is kind of why I love doing interior design stuff. You know, I want the home to feel homey. I when we're creating a design architecturally and interior design, it's like, how can we make this feel like home? How can we make this beautiful? That it has, you know, a little bit of feng shui in there and stuff. Like, you know, it has to feel good because so much of life is the feeling that you get.
Yeah, and nature, I mean, it's so close to nature. It's Alaska to me. It's like, man, you're out there in the wilderness, and you know, everything's Mother Nature. And
it is.
You say is you bring that feel and that love into your
yeah.
And I got to tell you, folks, her product is amazing, right? I mean, I don't have any. I'm gonna pump her up because she earned it. But it's not only sexy and classy, but you can feel what she's talking about. You know, so kudos to giving us a finished product that speaks to your soul. So
no, thank you. So something that I did is just that gratitude, but then I also wanted to give back as well. And so in the nature thing, one thing we do now is I actually created a nonprofit called the Fortunate Foundation, and it creates certified wildlife habitats. And our goal now is for every 1 acre that we develop green homes on, we develop 2 acres of certified wildlife habitat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's just for the sheer fact that the more nature, I mean, and not only does it preserve, you know, the world and everything, help the world, but it also, like, we're creating them right now is in kind of city centers where it's like the very, very first one that we created was amongst 4 houses that we built, and it actually gives the homeowners access. There's an acre of certified wildlife habitat that's kind of shared amongst them, and they can go out there and, you know, hang out in nature. It's their own little private park essentially. And there's hawks, there's owls, there's deer, there's raccoons, like the songbirds, all the cardinals, stuff like that. And really, I mean, we created a food source, a water source, and just kind of a place where animals can come hang out. And if, you know, if you go and hang out in there, even for a minute, you're going to feel better, you know?
I mean, it's just taking in a whole nother atmosphere, you know, just, wow.
It kind of like feeds the soul. So, you know.
I love it. I love it. So let me just kind of, because I know we're kind of running out of time. I have so much more to ask you, and so tell us how, before we do, I don't want to forget, tell us how we can get in touch with you, you know, so we can get that in the chat. How does someone go to your website? I'm gonna brag about you. Go check out your stuff, right? I mean, it's beautiful, and foundation. Also, we want to make sure we support that. So tell us how we can follow along with you when you leave here?
So you can follow at Fortunate Foundations. That's plural with an S on the end. All Instagram, Facebook, we're all over there. The website is www.fortunatefoundations.com. If this is something that you want to be a part of and you can't necessarily come buy a home, which is fine. We are actually looking for investors. If you're interested in investing, you can become a part of, you know, our green building initiative and invest and it will help us complete these projects and these green build rated homes.
Right. So, and we have that information in the chat for those of you that are here and coming later. And if you still want more information and you can't get a hold of, make sure you reach out to me and do that. So what does 2022, as we wrap up, what do you see 2022 like? You know, and well, let me ask one other thing, because I'm not going to let you get away without telling, you speak, right? I mean, you're a speaker, obviously, and you do it so gracefully. Do you mind sharing, you know, some of your platforms that, you know, speak to maybe the female audience or something that we haven't talked about, so people that are interested in connecting with you more may be able to find you?
Yeah, sure. Normally, I'm a guest on different platforms and podcasts. I'm working on creating my own platform here in Austin at the headquarters building that we're creating a commercial headquarters. I plan on having different events. It is really near and dear to my heart to inspire women. I plan on having women's group meetups there and whatnot, where I'll be speaking or having guest speakers there. You can definitely follow me on Facebook or Instagram. I will be updating that there if that's something that you're interested. And on top of that, I am a guest on a lot of podcasts. Most recently, the Austin Investor podcast is the one I was on recently, and I have a large number of them as well that I can share maybe later. I don't have them off the top of my head, but yeah, I just keep following me and I keep updating where I'm speaking. I told everyone that I was speaking here, so
Yeah. We'll do what we can to keep people connected, because it's the grace in your message, Leanne, and the tenderness in your heart that I think resonates beyond all your expertise and success that you're doing in real estate. So, what as we kind of wrap up here, what parting words, if you were to share something that you came so many great things, read and surround yourself with other successful people, invest in yourself. Man, those are all key things. What can you tell us if that person out there that's, oh, this is all great, but I'm still, man, I just don't know that I can do it. How can you close this out in speaking to that?
Oh goodness. You are enough. Everything that you have already is enough, and everything that you desire, it's all within you. It's just finding the courage to take that step, that first step. And it's if you let's see, how do I word this in a way? It's such like a deep spiritual message that I'm trying to formulate into words right now.
I can put you on the spot, but you're doing great. So
people don't like to feel uncomfortable, but normally taking that step and getting out of your comfort zone is what's going to make all the difference. And more than likely, you're not going to die. It's uncomfortableness is like sleeping on the floor in a Walmart blow up mattress. If you can get through that, which it'll be uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable and not just one night. It was uncomfortable for years. Step into that fear, hold it, but find your courage to take the steps and keep waking up every day. Like I said, 2,065 days is now where I've been doing this, and it's just waking up and doing it again. Learning, taking what you learn, take your failures, learn from them, pivot, change, but you will find your path. And do if it's all in if you're being ethical and you have a good vision that is bigger than yourself, you are, if you can keep waking up and doing it over and over, you're bound to succeed.
Wow. So, ladies and gentlemen, drop some love in the chat, and we see this later on. They're clapping for you and all that stuff, Leanne. And I know there'll be people coming and catching this later and reaching out to you. I really want to say thank you for carving out some time in your super busy schedule to come deliver one powerful message today. And I'm really glad we connected and looking forward to having these conversations with Leanne.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Geoff. It was such an honor.
You're very welcome. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. So what did I tell you guys, right? Come on. Thank you all for staying in and hanging in here and show some love for Leanne. She really just, as I told you before, is just going to speak from the heart. so many other things we didn't get a chance to talk about. So follow her and do that. And if you are interested in real estate training and education, go to mastermind.com for more information. Follow us at Conversations with Geoff on the YouTube channel. And I'm really going to see if we can get Leanne to put something together with us where we can do like a session two on mindset and really dig into the roadblocks that are keeping you from taking that leap of faith. I mean, Walmart mattress, right? We all had one of those before, some type of Walmart mattress in our life, and we've overcome that just like she has. So, hey, listen, again, appreciate your support and Conversations with Geoff, and stay tuned. We've got this month of December, we're going to load it up. There's all the information on how to follow us in the chat. And I'm going to leave you with one thing, and that is, as Leanne said so eloquently, be okay with the failure. You are enough. Cut yourself some slack. All right? And with that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll see you soon. Appreciate all your support. And remember, be okay with your failure. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.